just heard for the first time, I have a guest in the studio.
Yeah.
His name is Unique Creation.
Yes.
Mr. Yahweh himself.
Yeah.
And he's live with me at Westside.
All day.
So yes, he is actually a rapper.
That's right.
But you're a faith rapper.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that about you. I love how you've combined your faith, but also your musical ability.
Thank you.
Your
Thank
talents.
Thank you.
How do you feel about being a faith rapper?
To be called a faith rapper is a good one. I've been called all sorts. All sorts.
What kind of all sorts? That doesn't sound very happy.
Days. People, you really want to know?
Yeah.
People have said,
we're live, we're sharing.
True. People have said, the usual names, faith, Christian, and people have said, I'm not of God, I'm of the devil, all sorts.
You're of the devil, of all people.
You wouldn't believe it. I've been accused of hating albinos. I don't know where that came from. All sorts of things have come at me.
Where did that come from? Because of your rapping?
Yeah, I made a track which has nothing to do with albinos, and this lady started stalking me on my YouTube channel, my Twitter, sending me direct messages and all sorts, accusing me of all sorts of madness that I never did. But yeah, it's a long one. It's a long story.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, don't worry, we love you here, and we're
you.
grateful that you're here at the West Side and you're here with me.
Yes.
Kicking off my first show back. Woo! I can't believe it. I've been off for 5 weeks.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's going to be a really raw conversation. We are doing our Motivation with Us, where literally we discuss everything that people are going through.
Yeah.
And today I want to discuss something that's so important and crucial to me because I needed some time for my mental and emotional stability. It was really, really hard to go through this. So this is called The Fight, because I'm back here and I'm not going to let anything pull me down.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Fight. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I actually want to share more about what I was going through a quote that came from the Bible.
Okay.
So it is from Proverbs 13 verse 12. And it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life.
Honestly, I say God speaking. Let me tell you the truth. This was not planned. You see what you just mentioned, yeah?
Yeah.
You see my company, BFA. That's
Right.
our motto.
What's your company for?
Black Fingerprint Associates is for creatives, and hope deferred makes the heart sick, but desire fulfills a tree of life is our motto, because sometimes when you lose your hope, you do get sick. It's not good for you, and that's where BFA came from. So I was shocked to hear that.
Thank you.
Levels.
And another version, contemporary English version, it said, not getting what you want can break your heart, but a wish that comes true is a life-given tree. Not getting what you want. It is not easy. You go through this stage and you want to do well, you want to keep going, but what happens when nothing is happening and you see everyone else soaring? Not to mention social media, that comparison environment where you look at yourself and you say, you know what, I'm feeling fleeky today. You post the picture and one person only likes one comment and you say, wow, I need to delete my picture because clearly I'm embarrassing myself. So clearly all of those things put together can make hope deferred and make you feel physically sick.
That was me for the last 2 years.
Really? Please share.
That was me. Oh my days. It's because every time I enter the new year, the year before, you go on with all this hope, like, yeah, I'm going to reach this goal.
I'm meant to be Beyonce by now.
It'll happen. And each year, I thought, wow, I'm really not getting there. And I have some close friends. Of course, I even spoke to them about this because, I'm honest with my Christian brothers, man. And I said, yo, listen, you guys are soaring. You know I work, but I'm not getting there, and it burns. And each year, I'm thinking to myself, you're not that far. You're not getting there. So each year, I'd work myself to death. There was one time where I put myself into a clinical work fatigue. It's when you work your body so hard that you can no longer physically function. And that's what I did to myself. I remember sitting down and my body literally fell back, my eyes closed, and I couldn't move. I was awake, but I couldn't move, and it was scary. They had to take me to the hospital. So that's because I was working myself so hard to get there that I finished myself, man. And I realized I was basing my value on my achievements. My personal value was based on my achievements. The more I achieved, the more I felt good about myself. And when I didn't achieve, when I wasn't getting something, there was a lot of self-hate going on. It comes from, I guess, growing up in a certain way and so on. But
African household.
Well,
that's what it is.
You know what? I wouldn't even say they tried to do that. It comes from
Really?
I come from.
So your mom was very congratulatory when you didn't pass your exams?
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I failed my exams.
Oh, I saw you didn't fail. You were a good boy. It's okay.
I fell asleep in classes, boy. Yeah, it was bad.
Let me know.
Yeah. I still don't like school, to be honest, but I do. I'm a big fan of education, but I don't like school. But that's a different story.
So in this period of my sadness, I actually went to Jerusalem.
Man.
I was blessed with the opportunity to go to Israel. I started off at Tel Aviv.
Wow.
When I say this journey changed my life, I didn't even know why I was going. I just said, okay, my church said, everyone go if you want to go. And I filmed for my church. And I was like, okay, they might need me. Let me just go.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was stepping into. I did not know that God was about to turn my life around. Wow. So yes, my trip to Jerusalem, when I say I got in, tell me why it's cold, number one.
It's cold.
How can the Holy Land, that's all the way in a different country over there, right, be cold?
I thought you were going to say heat.
No, I got in, it was freezing. Like the wind was blowing in my face. I had to say, okay, my gloves are in my actual, suitcase.
Okay.
That kind of cold.
Wow.
So then my pastor, he was like, okay, you know, all the film crew, let's go and do something, let's film. And I was like, yes, okay, I'm going to film. Bearing in mind, this is just when I've landed.
Wow.
I'm about to put my breakfast on my plate.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there with everybody, everyone's ready to eat kind of thing. I put my breakfast on. My pastor said, everyone wait, let's film in. Let's go and do this. Let's film this.
Okay.
I go film it with him. And then he goes, every single person that's here, you are on a fast. I said,
disrupted.
What did you just say? Because my food is waiting for me. I don't understand. So I made sure I was not in the group when he said this. I stood behind. And then he goes, Tosin, come here. You are on this fast and you will not break till 6 p.m. 12 to 6 p.m. And I said, excuse me. Okay. In my heart, I said, God, you're actually a joker because my bread is on my plate and my breakfast. I went back into the room. Tell me why everyone's going, and I'm just watching them. I can't even sit next to them. And let me give you a testimony right here.
Yeah.
Okay. I was filming everyone's baptism.
Oh, no.
Right? I then give my camera to my auntie to please take my video for. Yeah. I step into the water.
Yay.
I walk 2 steps. My camera drops into that water.
Wow.
Cracks.
Wow, that's worse than I thought it was. What?
And I had to go and be baptized at that particular point. Tell me how the devil is not mad at me. Tell me how it wasn't meant to set to like make me say, God, what are you doing? Like I'm meant to be here being baptized. I've done everyone else's. I don't even get my own video. Plus the camera is now broken. I don't see. And let me tell you something about the water back then. Yeah. The water there, right? No, nothing can live in it. It is so salty. If you get it in your eyes are stinging.
Yeah.
So I had to be like, wow, I still need to go and get baptized, and I'm crying inside. Like I was crying inside. Oh. These are 1,000-pound cameras. What do you mean? You mean tears, Tosin? Yeah.
Wow.
And then they're like, okay, do you surrender your life to Jesus Christ? I'm like, I'm going to surrender my life to... He didn't even protect my camera or whatever. I was like, okay, I surrender. In my head, obviously I cannot say it out in front of the pastor. Who do I think I am? Yeah. And then you want me to put it out into the universe so Jesus can hear me when I can be missing my blessings. You're silly. So then I went in, I came back, and then I was just like, what does he want me to do? And I realized the things that I've prayed for, that was just God showing me, I'm going to give you what you want. Because the biggest miracle you could ever have is a miracle in your heart and in your mind. Because if you think the right things, your actions are right. If your actions are right, the decisions you make are right. And then it becomes a habit, and then it becomes your character, and then it becomes your whole entire life.
Yep, and then it becomes dead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many beautiful things. I'm going to be sharing more on actual social media of the places that we went to and the miracles that we saw. I saw people going into the Dead Sea, coming out with healed bodies. They could, my auntie was like, I'm not going in, my legs, all of this. She came out jumping, hooping, hollering. And I was like, really?
See stuff like that I need to see, man. I need to see stuff like I really need to.
And the thing is, when you're a Christian, sometimes you're like, I believe, but I don't believe in miracles like that because I can't
you don't see it. Yeah, I'm a doubting Thomas. I need to stick my finger in the hole of the hands.
I saw a live miracle. I actually wanted to read some statistics out because I feel like people don't understand the importance of mental health. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So Mental Health Research Charity from 2016, these are their statistics. Okay. So right now we have 66 million people in the UK.
Wow.
1 out of 4 of them
Yeah.
will experience mental illness each year. 75% of mental illness starts by the age of 18. And then 50% before the age of 14. Our children, our brothers, our sisters, they are going through mental stuff. Like,
Wow.
low-key, have you ever looked back at your life and said, there were signs that I was struggling when I was younger?
Yep, I can look back at certain times and be like, yep, this is why I have this issue now. Certain traumas did happen, to be honest.
Would you like
traumas.
to share any?
Oh, mate. All right, cool. I grew up in a very bad neighborhood.
Oh, we get exclusives.
I grew up in a very bad neighborhood. I never shared this already before. I've been mugged about 4 times. I remember it really messed me up. I became very, very, very paranoid every time I stepped out. Very paranoid. Imagine I just got a brand new bike. I was 14. 14, yeah.
Wow.
A brand new bike. The second day I fell off it, right? Some guy comes, snatches me, throws me off it and rides off. That's my first time as well. The second time I was coming from church. I was sending out flyers for a big event. I was going to perform at it. And I'll never forget, as I went to some guys, started signing flyers. My head said don't do it, but I did it. And then they grabbed me. But the bus came, pulled myself, jumped on the bus thinking I was safe, went upstairs. They followed me upstairs. And
You have to run out that window.
Yeah, I couldn't. They surrounded me, they took everything. People were watching, but I think people were scared. 2 of the guys actually came to the church concert. And I thought, okay, I lost stuff, but guys came. But I realized I'm still very paranoid. And I realized that if anyone steps close to me acting funny, I'm very watchful, puts me on edge.
Yeah.
And it's things like that put that in my head.
Did you actually speak to them when you saw them at the church?
I was 17. Right?
Yeah, okay.
You mugged me, your hair, but cool.
Okay.
I got a show to do, I'm going to do it, and we're going to go our way. I lost loads of rings, hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of rings, because I love sovereign rings. All that gold gone.
Wow.
I'll never forget. But
I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that, you brought people to the church, and I'm glad that you're here wiser. Yet at the same time, I want you to be able to trust people a bit more. I get it's damaging, but as time goes on, hopefully you will heal.
Amen. Amen.
Social media.
Oh, wow.
What about that?
Wow.
There are so many things that I don't like about social media. The comparison part, the whole thing about, I feel like it increases depression.
Yep.
Now, do you know about Tiwa Savage and T-Bills?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah. Heard a little.
Unfortunately, at the time when Tiwa, I'm not sure if they're still together, but her husband was suffering with mental issues, and then he went out and attacked her on social media. And then it made me just think about the power of how destructive social media can really be. In terms of trolls, in terms of people exposing each other. We saw Tory Lanez and Dream Doll, by the way, she bodied you. But the way that someone can actually just, pull you down completely, and how that can affect you. People exposing secrets, people leaking nudes. Black China, unfortunately, we didn't see, her best work when we saw the video being leaked. But, things like that. It's so sad seeing, because I can only imagine how upset she feels that her great work was not put out.
Yeah. It's a mess. But I think all social media does is amplifies what's already in people, and that's the need to, be noticed and be accepted and be complimented. But opinions aren't fact, and we can't rely
I love what Chipmunk said. Opinions aren't fact, take them in and let them go.
Real talk. That is a gem right there. It's not. Numbers don't define you. Don't let other people's opinions define you. Numbers shouldn't define you. You were important before you got on social media.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Royal Society, because I need to put some substance to what I'm saying, so it's not just about me. Like, these things really are existing, okay? Royal Society for Public Health, they did a survey for 16 to 24-year-olds, and they said 91% of people that are 16 to 24 use social media in the UK. And out of that
is a lot.
People who use social media, 2.7 times more likely to be depressed.
I believe it. I've seen what it can do to people. I believe it.
What is going on here?
Oh man, it's the need to be accepted, especially when you want to put your best foot forward on social media. You want to look good. So anyone can say anything. You're out there. So one person says something, it's like you can't defend yourself. Really.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain yourself. So it's that weird part of human need to be accepted, to be loved, to be noticed. That's just human beings, to belong. It's all in us. It's in us.
To round this up, what would your advice be to those that are suffering with, their mental health and emotional health?
To round it up, I guess it would be just put a healthy distance between you and what's hurting you. Even if you're addicted to it, it can't always be easy, but you need to put a healthy distance away from what's hurting you till you're prepared again to be hit by it. That's just how it is.
I agree with him, because I actually took the 5 weeks off social media as well. I deleted it. I deactivated it. I told God I'm never going back. I said I don't want it. All of a sudden, people are saying you need it for your brand, and I said why? I was actually in a debate. Like I'm not going back on. I don't want you people to make me lose my mind. Come on. How many times do I have to beg you to like my picture?
Yeah.
And at this point, I feel like I'm begging. If you don't like me, just leave me alone. But do not add me, follow me, and then watch me stalker. Okay.
Okay.
So I want to thank you so much. If you are suffering, please email me talkswithtos@gmail.com. I'm here. I'm your sister. I will be here for you. I will listen. My husband, do not message me through that way. Okay, I'm not interested in that.
I was about
thing.
to say, but get a few other emails. All right, cool.
I am joking, but that is it so far. Unique Creation, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been
I
a
appreciate
pleasure.
you.